People,
What's up, my brother?
welcome to the Transition Podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on. How do you feel?
I feel good. Let's see where
Where's this gonna go?
this is gonna go.
You nervous, dog?
We'll see.
So, Chris, let's tell our listeners a little bit about you, where you grew up, where'd you go to school. Obviously, we all know that you play basketball, or I know that, but maybe some people don't know that you play basketball. So, give us a little bit about Chris Alvarez.
So I'm originally from Miami, Florida. I went to school down here, 2 years of high school at Archbishop Carroll with my legend coach, Sal Stewart. He coached me from very young, and then
He still is legendary, right?
yeah, he's a legend.
He's a
In my book, he's a legend.
They don't make him like that no more.
No, definitely not. Then I left for 2 years to Blair Academy in New Jersey to go play basketball. And then from there, I had the honor of getting a scholarship to the University of Dayton. And then after 2 years, I transferred to Northeastern University.
So you play basketball here at Archbishop Carroll. And I remember that clearly. For those of you who don't know, Chris Alvarez is actually my little brother. So my little brother is Chris Alvarez, who is on this podcast right now. So let's talk a little bit about Archbishop. I remember clearly when you were at Archbishop Carroll. You were growing. I think you entered high school. You're probably 6'4", 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
And Sal had really put in a lot of work throughout your days at St. Timothy, your days at Tamiami, and then now in high school. So when you go to Archbishop Carroll, you had the bad injury.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes, unfortunately, I fractured my femur. It was my sophomore year in a game. My own teammate collided into my knee, and it was done for a while.
I remember that.
It was probably the
Talk to me about that team. That
worst
team was,
pain.
for a Miami basketball team, that was a pretty legit team.
Yeah, we had Rafael da Silva.
Mm-hmm.
He was a kid from Brazil that came down here.
Who lived with us.
Yeah, he lived. Yeah, my
Mommy and Papi
took him in.
100%.
He was a hell of a player, and we had Steve Gomez, who's 1,000-point scorer in high school, and we had other guys. We just gelled well. We were a solid team down here in Miami.
Dude, I remember that like it was yesterday. I mean, Archbishop was pretty much a brand new school.
Yes.
Sal had just taken the job there, and he was able to get a lot of you guys and gel you guys, and you guys came together.
Yeah, so Archbishop technically started with Monsignor Lucero, and unfortunately, my 8th grade year going into my freshman year, he passed away over the summer. So Sal was already given the position, but for those of you who don't know, Monsignor Lucero was our pastor at St. Timothy, and he was starting this new high school. So that's main reason why I followed Sal and Monsignor to go to Archbishop.
I didn't realize that Monsignor was the reason.
Yes.
He's the one who started Archbishop Carroll.
100%. And unfortunately, other people took over at the time, and that's why everything went to hell.
A little south?
A little south. Yeah.
Got it. So, since we talk about transition, we're going to get into it immediately. I remember clearly you are playing in Orlando, AAU basketball, with Sal. Every major Division I basketball coach was there, from Coach K to Coach Bill Self to, I mean, you name them, they were there.
Yeah.
And you had just gotten back from Vegas, right? From the Vegas tournament.
Yes.
When all of a sudden opportunities started to present themselves about, hey, it seems like Chris has a really good, bright future in basketball. I don't mean this in a bad way, but South Florida is not a hotbed for basketball, and
No.
like football would be or baseball would be because of the weather and whatnot.
Correct.
And everybody felt that you should go play basketball in the Northeast at a prep school called Blair Academy. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so part of the reason was, like I said, the school went a little south. Sal, who was my coach at the time, ended up leaving the school for whatever reason. So me and him sat down by ourselves without mommy and papi knowing, and we had a tough conversation about what the future entailed. And he definitely thought that I had a chance to play high D1 basketball, but he for sure thought that to give myself a better opportunity to get a high D1 offer, it was to go somewhere else like the Northeast. So he started looking up schools, and then we, at that point, sat down with mommy and papi and broke down the news to them, and they weren't very happy at the moment. But kudos to them that they actually gave me the opportunity at such a young age to leave and follow my dreams.
Let's talk about that. You were 15?
15, turning 16, yes.
That's not easy.
No,
That's not easy. So
it was not.
How did you feel about it?
So on my original visits, mommy and papi went with me, and we went to St. Benedict's Prep, which is a very well-known basketball school. We went to Lawrenceville, and we went to Blair. The way, to go back a little bit, the way we heard about Blair was Coach Cal Cook, who was a football coach at Archbishop, coached there for 20-something years. And when he found out that I was going to go visit St. Benedict's in Lawrenceville, he told me, hold on, I got to make a phone call right now. You got to go visit Blair. So on my visit, I went to each school. And, man, as soon as I went to Blair, I just knew that was a spot for me. With that being said, it was very difficult. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, Hispanics were very, very close to our family, and I was very young at the time. But thank God for the people that were at Blair, my teammates, my coach, my teachers. They truly made me feel at home when I was
Yeah, they made the transition much more comfortable.
Yeah,
for you.
100%.
But it must have been really hard for mommy and papi, and specifically for mommy, because she was very close to you. I think papi could manage it a little bit more better emotionally.
Yeah.
Or if not, he definitely internalized it.
Yeah.
More than she did.
Yeah, I found out later, years after, she wasn't the happiest person at the moment. She had to obviously deal with me being gone, but she did it, man. I'm proud of her.
No, so that's amazing. So Blair Academy. A lot of people who live in South Florida don't know about Blair Academy. I selfishly know a lot about it because my little brother went to school there. It's one of the most prominent schools in America, from kids who are athletes like yourself to kids who come from extremely prominent, wealthy families. Talk to us about the experience there, man. I think that Blair deserves a lot of credit in this conversation.
100%. Blair Academy is truly a special place. They have one of the best arts schools, which I don't know if there's much credit, at least down here, but they had one of the best art schools. They were in the #1 wrestling school for over 30 years. They're probably still up there, to be honest with you. And then when Coach Mantegna took over, basketball started building up, and then once I got there, it started taking off to being one of the best schools in the country. But it's not only that; it's the family atmosphere that's there. I mean, all the teachers live on campus. Like it's basically a college, but it's with the staff and everyone there. So like, if you ever it
has a college experience. Like it looks like a university.
Yeah, because there's a dorm. Yeah, there's a dormitory. Yeah, it's nicer than many universities that I've been to. Mm-hmm. It's amazing, and now it's even that much nicer. They've done a lot of construction. But yeah, any problem you have, man, you just walk to one of their homes, or in the actual dorms, you have families that live with you in the dorms that are considered your headmaster and stuff like that. But it's a special place, man, and the people you meet there are, I mean, technically I wouldn't meet them down here for sure.
Yeah. And you and I, we talk about environment a lot. I think that was you were in an amazing environment that allowed you to grow as a young man, allowed you to develop skill sets that, for instance, I developed at a later age because until I got to college, I mean, pretty much you went away. You got to make your own clothes. You start living you grow up a little faster.
Yes.
I think I grew up a little faster in other ways, but that's definitely was a huge point and growing point in your life.
Yeah, I also had the opportunity of getting what I still call my second mom and second dad, Dr. Scott's. They're both doctors, and it was truly a blessing to be under their household. They took us in the summers, and man, anything we wanted, anything we needed, they treated us like if we were their own. I'm forever grateful for them.
Dr. Scott was a doctor for the New York Knicks, am I correct?
He was a doctor for the New York Knicks and for the Dream Team. And Mrs. Scott was a doctor for the Liberty for many years, on top of them having their own practices on the side and owning hospitals and stuff like that. So very, very successful, very loving.
Very humble people.
Very humble people,
I love
100%. And now they're at the Ocean Reef.
One of the reasons, or one of the major reasons I get into Ocean Reef is because of a Dr. Scott. There's no doubt about it. The hardest part was I've always wanted to send him a bottle of wine, but he's a big wine guy. So
he loves
what type
wine.
of wine can I get him that he hasn't drank? You know.
Oh.
But Dr. Scott, if you're listening, I really appreciate you with that reference letter. So we're at Blair. One of the key things that I loved about as your brother as an experience at Blair Academy is that not only were you in a healthy environment, but let's talk about sports now. You also got to play with two NBA players on one team, Luol Deng and Charlie Villanueva, which is no doubt. I truly believe that one of the reasons your game was able to grow is because you were surrounded by two great players that you had to play against every single day. And, you level up in life. If you hang out with bad people, you're probably going to end up being a bad guy. If you end up hanging out with great people, you're probably going to end up being a great guy. Same thing in sports, where if you surround yourself by talent, you got no choice but to get your game up. So what was that experience like playing with Luol and Charlie every single day?
Man, it was special, to be honest with you. I mean, I had never seen talent like that. Definitely not here in South Florida. I mean, you're talking about the number 2 player in the country, and Luol Deng, which was right behind LeBron James, which obviously everyone knows who LeBron James is. And Charlie Villanueva was in different rankings, anywhere from 3 to 5 in the country. So you have 2 top 5 players in the country that you're playing with on a daily basis. The work that they would put in, I mean, it was such an honor to be able to call them my teammates, and not more, especially now they're my friends. Just as good as they were talent-wise in basketball, they were better human beings.
Those are 2 good guys, man.
They're amazing people in their own ways, and very successful, thank God. Kudos to Blair and their upbringing, because I mean, we all know, and you've had people in the podcast before talking about, I mean, I make millions of dollars, and then later on it's gone.
Not them.
Not these guys, man. These guys have done. They're building on their wealth, and they're really involved in real estate, businesses, et cetera, and
they're using you now as their insurance broker, man.
Yeah,
who would have ever thought, right? How do you can't script that one?
No, I can. It's an honor to be their insurance agent for over 3 to 4 years. But yeah, I mean, there's special people, and like I said, playing with those guys, guarding those guys on a daily basis. I mean, when you go play someone else, you're like, this is easy.
I'm going to put you in the spot real quick. Who was more talented in high school, Charlie or Luol?
Talented-wise, Charlie is probably the most talented person I've ever met in my life. I mean, you're talking about a 7-footer who can dribble, can shoot, Now, overall skill and basketball IQ, in my opinion, was Luol Deng. And hard worker, I mean. nobody was working harder.
That's why he played 15 years in the league, man.
100%.
Just retired.
Literally just retired this year. Signed a 1-year deal with the Chicago Bulls, just to retire a Bull, and they literally just honored him. I want to say it was 2 days ago, at the United Center, and it's kudos to him, man. He's earned it.
Congrats, Luau, if you're listening. And I still appreciate the tickets you left me when I visited Chicago. So.
And by the way, Luau, we need you here in the Transition Podcast if you're listening.
Really soon, man. So you go to Blair. You're playing with Luau, Charlie. Schools was difficult. I mean, I know that you went. School was not easy there at Blair Academy.
The hardest school I've ever been to in my life.
Did you copy a lot?
No, there's no way. You have 5 students per class.
Oh my God!
Literally, like that largest class I had was 6 students. So it's like a little round table like this, and there's one teacher with 5 or 6 students. The hardest school I've ever been to in my life, hands down, not even close.
And it was like essay questions, right? Where you can't.
No.
It's like multiple choice. Like you're like.
To be honest with you, and to this day, I have no clue how I graduated.
I get it. So we go from Blair to now comes the big decision. Where am I going to go to school? Which you end up playing at the University of Dayton in the Atlantic 10. Amazing school. How was that that experience?
So, yeah, I was recruited to...
And by the way, not to cut you off, I want to talk about that experience because I know we have listeners in Miami. And I think basketball IQ, and as you and I have talked about, the people leading basketball down here in Miami, with all due respect, are not the... I guess I'm gonna say it, man. Not the best people to have, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a handful of guys
that know what they're doing.
That know what they're doing, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean,
Chris Alvarez, Miami's calling for you to coach a little basketball. Been 10 years for a long time, but
we'll see what the future entails.
So
yeah, I had the opportunity of signing with Brian Gregory, his first class to the University of Dayton. He was a former assistant coach at Michigan State.
For Tom Izzo?
Tom Izzo. So, yeah, I go to Dayton. I mean, Dayton is a special place, bro. It's basically... It's
special to my heart, too.
Oh, God. We'll get to that later. Dayton, man, is like basically you're playing college, but it's a pro organization. I mean, there's no sports team nearby, technically, besides Cleveland, and it's not that close to Dayton. So they treat it like an NBA team. I mean, the facilities-wise, and arguably one of the best arenas in the country.
They host an NCAA tournament there every single year.
Every year.
And I do remember, again, the arena was beautiful. I used to love walking in when they had your big poster, and they put the sign.
Hallway.
And it said Energy, right? It was Energy. And they had you in the starting 5, and it was. And Brian Gregory. I mean, I had several conversations about Brian Gregory about you.
Brian Gregory is a great coach, man.
Tough dude, man.
Very, very tough.
Tough dude.
He brought that old school Tom Izzo mentality of toughness.
You didn't remember when I came to the Xavier game that I showed up the day before when we were at practice, and I'm the only guy in the arena, and they were beating the shit out of you with a bag while you were posting up.
Yes.
No, literally. So he's working
Coach Schmidt.
He's working on a post, and there's a guy just banging his body, just like.
Yeah.
I'm talking about putting bodies on him. And Chris, back then, you're a freshman.
No,
you were playing the 3, the 4, and the 5.
And mostly 4 and 5 at the time. At 205, 210 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
I was light back then. Yeah, it was, I mean, probably the overall toughest practices I've ever been a part of in a whole was at Dayton. Not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
You really threw your body out there a lot. I remember you taking a lot of charges, and playing great defense. And it kind of, to me, that talks about your mindset, being aggressive, and being a team guy. And I think that, I'm going to bring this back to mindset. I think being around Luau and Charlie kind of positioned you to become that guy, while they were handling arguably more shots than you were taking in high school before they graduated.
Fact.
So building that mindset to become physically tough, also had to make you mentally tough because you're playing against guys that are, I mean, you were a slim guy back then, developing your body, and you're playing against guys that are 230, 240, and you're willing to get in the box and take some blows. How'd that work with developing mental fortitude, man, and taking shots?
Yeah, so when I first got to Blair Academy, I was not starting originally. So I had to figure out a way how to get into the game and play significant minutes. Obviously, I wasn't going to go there and chuck up 15 to 20 shots when you have the two top players in the country. So you had to figure out a different way of being productive. So I took on defense. I mean, defensively, always for me it's like second nature to me.
My basketball IQ taught you that a lot. Your IQ, man.
The basketball IQ was, I can arguably say, was one of the highest always on the team. I just knew how to anticipate. I knew how to read offenses.
God, I love that word.
To this day, I mean, I can. You joke with Luan and these guys, and some of the quickest hands. I mean, I always had my hand on the ball somehow, some way. So technically, yeah. I mean, I will go back to then that I had to figure out a way to get on the court, and I was just defensively.
And again, that was the way you were going to get the minutes that you wanted to play.
Yeah, even in college, and I mean, I started as a true freshman at Dayton, and I wouldn't say it was because of my offensive game. It was,
and I think
100% my defense.
What's the award that you won your freshman year at the University of Dayton?
Oof, that was the Thomas Epe Luper Award,
which is a big deal.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I like to remind you about these things.
I forgot about that.
I'm going to bring it out of you. I like to remind you of these things.
I forgot. Yeah.
So we're at Dayton. You have an amazing freshman year. Your sophomore year, you come back. Things were a little bit, things didn't go as planned out. If you and I had multiple conversations when I was in Arizona, you would text me or I would call you and they're trying to change my shot, and that really messed with your mind because you had a certain way of shooting the basketball, and they felt that they wanted to change that. Mm-hmm. How much effect did that have in your mind?
Well, it wasn't only that, to be honest. Part of it was when I was originally recruited out of high school, I was told I was going to play the 3-4, which was small forward, power forward, which is always facing up towards the basket for the most part, for those who don't know. At least back then. Nowadays, I mean, everyone faces up in the new basketball era. But when I got there, I was playing the 5. But as a freshman, nobody really cares. I mean, if you're starting in college and you're a freshman and you're just happy to be on the damn court, to be honest with you. But after a whole season, I mean, I'm going up against guys that are 260, 270 plus. I mean, my body was taking a toll. So I had the conversation with Gregory, Brian Gregory, and he told me, no, this season we're gonna switch you around. We're gonna face you up more, this and that, so on and so forth. I come back and work out with you in the summer.
We got strong.
Yeah, the largest gains in my body I made was over that summer.
You're welcome.
I got literally to 225 solid.
You were big and strong.
I was putting up weight like easy. I mean, I outperformed the whole team when I came back over the summer, and so I showed him that I was taking true commitment, and I was taking his word. And unfortunately, I kept playing the 5. And then they started telling me this and that with my shot, and it just messed up my mind, to be honest with you. And then I just had a decision to make after my sophomore year.
And that's when you transferred to Northeastern University.
That is correct.
How was that? How was that transition? You've had multiple transitions, so
that was another difficult one in the sense because for those of you who don't know, in basketball, when you transfer from D1 to D1, you have to sit out a whole year. So, I mean, you're literally, all you do is just you show up to practice, you go in against the starting team, and then you don't even travel, you don't do anything. Like, you go to school and you work out, and that's about it.
It's like a red shirt.
Yeah, it literally is.
I went through the same thing. Yeah. It sucks.
It's horrible.
And it almost like takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you, man.
Yeah, it definitely did. And then, I come back and I play, and I had a great time, but my mindset was still, I would say, offensively was still messed up from the prior years.
Like
my confidence wasn't there.
Was it more of a fear of failure, of taking a shot? I mean, or
Well, back then, yeah, in Dayton, I mean, they were so like structural, in a sense, like you weren't allowed to play freely to a certain extent.
I get that. Happened to me at FIU.
Yeah, it was more, this is what you have to do, this play, you have to do this. And it's funny because they did run a lot of the offense out of me because I was able to pass for a big guy, and set good screens. So a lot of the offense ran through me, but it's just like there was times that you wanted to, I mean, you were open, you want to take a shot, and you take the shot, and then it doesn't go in, you hear the horn, so it's like, what's the point of shooting? You know what I'm saying? Like, so confidence-wise, I just wasn't there anymore. Offensively. Defensively, I still played against anyone in the country. I wasn't scared.
So jumping to that, senior year comes, dealing with a shoulder injury. You had a torn labrum.
Yeah, that was at
Didn't want to get the surgery.
University of South Florida. It was over Thanksgiving break where a lot of the family went up. I went up for a block, and my arm kept going back. I didn't feel it during the game at all. And that night, I went to go hug the family good night, and I couldn't pick up my arm. So when I get back to Boston, I go take an MRI, and I tore my labrum. And unfortunately, I had to play like that the whole year because I was past a certain time that you can take a medical red shirt. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to play, so I had to play through it. But it was brutal.
I remember you saying, this is brutal. I can't shoot the basketball I want.
No.
It's almost like that. I think that's the turning point in your basketball career when you really start thinking, okay, what's going to happen with me now? Like, where's my basketball life going? I've put everything I had into this. I left home at 16. I play with the best players in the country. I went to Dayton, didn't work out, and all of a sudden it's just like one thing after the other. Mm-hmm. What did you do to bounce back from that? Especially your senior year when you know that, okay, I'm not going to get drafted. I don't think Europe was an option from what...
Europe was an option. The problem was, or not Europe, overseas was an option, but unfortunately all the places that were knocking on the door was in the Middle East. And unfortunately, we were at war at the moment. So I was like, man, listen, I ain't going to no Middle East as an American, not knowing what the hell's over there or what's going to happen. And so I just said, you know what, this time's up. And it took me a while to transition, to be honest with you.
Let's talk about that.
So when I get back from my senior year, I come back home, obviously. I hadn't been home since 16 years old. So, I mean...
Is that our brother calling?
Yeah, that's our brother, Jose.
Put him on speakerphone real quick. Jose.
What's up, guys?
You're live on the podcast, baby. What do you got to say?
Hey, man, what's going on, bro? I made it to TV, bro.
You know what? Only this guy will be calling during the podcast.
I've been waiting for this all my life, man.
You're literally live on the podcast. What do you got to say to our listeners?
Oh, shit, man. Come on, man. You put me under pressure.
Of course I am.
Let's go you, baby.
No, you shouldn't be doing that.
Sorry. I was really live?
No, we're live.
We're live.
Oh, shit. All right. I want to get alive.
All right. We'll call you back.
Bye.
No, I got to go see. Chris, I got to be in the office. I got to come see you.
Come by. Come join us on the podcast.
Okay, give me I'm going to be in 30 minutes, 45 minutes, okay?
Perfect. We'll go to lunch
Can
after.
you send me the address? I really don't know where the hell you guys are at. Send me the address.
Sounds good. Bye. So I come back from school. I come to live with back at home with our parents, and I have a degree in criminal justice at the University of Northeastern. So I'm considering FBI, Secret Service.
I remember that you were clear for that.
yeah, I was going through all these things, and I had to do my eye surgery. I did the eye surgery, and then something happened, and I was like, man, what the hell am I gonna do? Am I really gonna take a bullet for the president and this and that? And I was like, man, I don't know about this. So I mean, even prior to that, it had been over 10 months without me finding a job. But thank the good Lord, I have met my wife now, which back then was my girlfriend, Jenny, who
introduced you to Jenny?
it was actually you, Fern.
I just Hooch.
She actually helped me, man. She guided me and helped me, and it was tough, bro. To be honest with you, because I felt like I really truly didn't have anyone to speak to about it, because unfortunately our parents never had the chance or the opportunity to go play sports and do that. So it's like I really had no one to.
And you had the same experience I had, where with our parents, and it comes from a sense of they don't know any better.
Yeah.
And Johnny, you and I spoke about this. Your dad coached volleyball for a long time, and you would understand. I think parents of athletes who have not played, right? They don't understand how tough that transition is, especially when you've given everything, you've sacrificed everything, your whole life as a child and as a teenager has evolved around a game, right?
100%.
Your weekends are all about
100%.
that game.
100%.
Your life, you miss parties, you miss events because you're sacrificing to become a player. And when that game just comes to an end, you know, I've said this before in the podcast, it's psychologically like a loss, man. It's a loss. That's what psychologists compare it to, because you're like, shit.
No, it's your identity.
Exactly.
It's your identity. Everyone knew Chris Alvarez, the basketball player, Fernie Alvarez, the baseball player. Like that. Unfortunately, that's how you were known. Like, and sometimes you didn't choose it. I mean, we're still human beings at the end of the day. Like, but it's just so like when people see you, they're like, hey, oh, look, you're the basketball guy. Yes, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and years after that, it still was the case.
And I think now, because of my faith, one of the things that I'm implementing, Olivia and Sean, is like, you are a child of God. You're not. Yes, Sean, you can play basketball, soccer, whatever, jiu-jitsu, whatever you decide to do, music, art. That's not who you are.
No,
I mean, that's a gift you have, but don't like. And then Nolan Carroll said this.
He said it the best.
What he said, and that's why faith is so important. His parents always reminded him, Nolan, you're not a football player, or you're not labeled. You are a human being. You have it. You
have gifts.
You have gifts. You have weaknesses. You're alive. You're gonna die. Like, you're not a robot, dude. You know.
No, kudos to his parents.
And that's what's tough, man. That I feel that sometimes you get this label, right? Like, Chris, you know, the world thinks that because you're 6'8" and you're 220 pounds, you should be in the NBA. Why?
No.
I have other gifts too. I don't necessarily have to play basketball or have to be an athlete.
No.
Right? So
to this day, I still go to restaurants or stores and they're like, hey, by the way, how tall are you? Oh, I'm 6'8". Do you play basketball? To this day, I'm like, well, I wish. I did back in the day, but I mean, to this day, I'm 33 years old and I'm still getting questioned, do you play basketball?
Yeah. No, it's from a business perspective, everybody used to tell you you're gonna fight that battle, because everybody hires you in the box of basketball, and then you're gonna go there and ask them for insurance, and they're gonna be like, oh, by the way, so how was basketball? And you're like, dude, I don't do that anymore. Like, I have a mind. I'm smart. I have other attributes, but that's just a very normal time and obviously transition. So the transition. So you meet Jenny, and Jenny starts to walk you through this. I went through the same thing with Giselle, where I felt that she was there for me, literally in my darkest days, because. Like, I wrote down, I don't know if you saw my post yesterday, but like I was going to thank you to my family, to my team members, to the podcast, because in reality, like, you know, without Juan, Lewis, and Johnny, and I don't have a podcast, right? Like, I'm just one piece of this whole big pie, right? So my wife was a big piece of my pie, where she was able to grab my hand and meet a guy, which I still pisses me off. I always tell him, like, babe, I just want to, like, maybe sign up for, like, a men's league so you can, like, watch me play or something. Because
Jenny did watch me play.
The only thing I have in my heart is, like, I just so never got to sit in the stands and watch me play. And I think that would, I always think that would have given her, like, I get it.
Yeah.
But then I also think that fact that she didn't watch me play and doesn't have me in that box.
Yeah, she accepted for who Fernie is.
Correct. And she was able to, like, see, like, oh, I'm glad you play baseball, but I don't really care.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not with you for baseball.
You get it?
Yeah.
So you're married. You meet Jenny. You're obviously married now. You have a little girl.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about your security company days, or?
Yeah. So going back to that, when I was literally struggling to find a job. Like, it had been over 10 months. Mind you, I have a college degree. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, they told me I go to college and you get a job. Like, it's like a known thing. And it was like, no. So I literally had to go. I just got frustrated. I was like, bro, I don't care. I just need to make some type of money.
And I want to rewind that. You go to Blair Academy.
Yes.
Where you have every single resource in the world, but you were there to play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to Dayton. Then you go to Northeastern. So everything's basketball. So we all jumped to the conclusion, like, oh, bro, like, I went to Blair and I played college basketball. I'm going to have a job.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Right?
That was tough, yes.
Fair statement?
Fair.
Go.
So then I ended up getting a job as a security guard at the airport, guarding planes and
working late
runways.
Nights.
Yeah, I was up at 2 a.m. I will go from 2 a.m. till about 10, 11 in the after or morning still technically, and then I'll get home. I'll sleep as best as possible in bright daylight, and then wake up in the afternoon and go work out and go hang out with Jenny. To be honest, thank God for her.
Having checks that they gave you that bounced.
Oh yeah, it was brutal. Yeah, that was another thing. They weren't even. I wasn't even getting paid on time. When I did get paid, the checks would bounce. I was like, man, what is this, man? So it was definitely tough, but I can honestly say thank the good Lord I had Jenny on my side. She saw me from being a security guard to working at Enterprise to Northwestern Mutual. Then I go to.
By the way, I'm banned from Enterprise, bro. I can't rent a car from Enterprise.
Why?
I went to rent a car right now for Nashville, and they said that I owe $155 and that I can't rent a car from them. I gotta talk to Giselle about this shit. I'm serious. I can't rent a car from Enterprise.
You're in the ban list, bro?
Yeah, and then I called. I go, well, I'll pay you your $155. They're like, no, you have to pay it from when you rented the car. I'm like, ma'am, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, where did I rent a car from? Because if I did rent a car, I will pay you. And I remember when we went to the Carolinas, and it was I had the car with Andres and Giselle. I had my car, and you had.
Yeah, I had my own car.
So maybe you can hook me up, bro. Because I can't rent a car from Enterprise. Dude. That's a big deal. That sucks.
I'll make a phone call.
Appreciate that. Enterprise, please. I'm a good guy, man. I'll pay your money. I just want a car.
But yeah, so and then I went to UM. I had an opportunity of knocking back in the door for basketball. Mm-hmm. I became a grad assistant for 2 years. During that time, we won the ACC regular season and the ACC tournament champs, and ended up becoming the Sweet 16. Unfortunately, we lost to Marquette.
That was fun, man, watching you coach there.
Those 2 years were amazing. But obviously, being back with the love of the game, basketball, and then having Coach L and all those guys and the players, man. I mean, those players were special. Great guys.
Shane Larkin was a great kid, man.
Shane Larkin, I had the opportunity to meet his dad, Barry Larkin, Hall of Famer.
I'm thankful for you. I got to sit down with Barry Larkin.
Yeah, he's
Hall
amazing.
of Famer, and we sat down on
Talk about humble.
handful of times in the Miami locker room, and we spoke about baseball and his time at ESPN and really what Shane was going through. And I even remember him mentioning to me at one point how he would love for you to maybe even become Shane's manager or right hand. Kind of, I guess he wanted you to hang out with him and really kind of guide him throughout the process.
Yes, that it was true. But then I sat down on my list. I mean, I was already gone for 8 years of my life from my family. And I had to sit down and be really like, do I really want to keep doing this? Unfortunately, the climate nowadays in sports, it's just either win now or you're gone. There's no more loyalty in the game.
I think that's industry-wise, man. I think we live in a world where it's really about your last at-bat. Like, you're as good as your last at-bat, literally. I think before, like, you had room for error.
Yeah.
We live in a world that's moving so fast, and like coaches and or CEOs or people running companies, if they don't produce immediately, it's like, all right, well, you're not working out, you got to go.
Yeah.
The instant gratification type mindset, guys. I mean, it's happening everywhere, and I'm completely against that. I mean, you look at any sort of operation, or whether it be a business or sports organization, or any industry. When you're going to really have an effect on any sort of organization, it takes time. First of all, it takes the right personnel, which you can get the job today and say, hold on a minute, okay, this is not the team that I want around me, right? So it takes time to find team. It takes time to find the right players. It takes time to implement a culture, because culture is nothing unless the team believes in the culture.
Buys into it 100%.
Right? I mean, anybody can have a culture, but if you don't,
It's a healthy culture.
it's like faith, right? You can have all the faith in the world, but do you truly believe?
No.
Do you really believe?
Yeah,
Right?
I agree.
That's what sets the game apart. Is I truly believe in this team that I'm in, and it happens everywhere. I do think that there's a shift that's going to happen soon. I think the world is such at a high speed that it's about to collapse. I think people, I'm betting against all this go thing. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's natural. I think the human being is.
Everything takes time, man. Anything,
man.
Anything in life. You go back to the days. I mean, you can plant a seed, but water it 160 something days. It still takes time to grow.
And you have to have the ability to pivot quick and anticipate, as we do in sports. But there's a balance, dude. Life is not about going 1,000 miles an hour. And if it is, it's not for me. So I'm cool with it. If you want to go 1,000 miles an hour, I'm fine going at 100.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Still going pretty fast, right? 100,000. So, because I want to be healthy, emotionally and mentally.
Yeah.
So
very important.
Some people have that. So some people have more have that ability, right? They can handle that crazy speed, but it definitely. My DNA has
not for me.
I love going fast, that, but I don't like to. I also know that I don't want to take life for granted. So
yeah, going back, I literally sat down and I'm like, man, listen, I don't want to be moving around anymore. Obviously, we know that the nature of college coaching is you jumping around from city to city, state to state. I was like, man, listen, I think my career in college might be over, and I then make a phone call to you, and we have lunch. I'll never forget that cafe on was it Ponce?
Titanic?
No, the outdoor cafe by our old office.
Oh,
Cafe Demetrio.
Cafe Demetrio.
We sat outside, and I had
Dude, that place was yummy, bro. I feel like I'm stuck to like Cafe Italia now, or like Tinta Cafe. I love you guys, but like I can only have so much Tinta and Cafe, right? I tried. We went to House the other days. Is it called House?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good chicken Caesar salad. I had a pot belly chicken sandwich. It was good. But so yeah, I missed that Cafe Demetrio days.
So yeah, we sat there and we discussed. I talked to you a little bit about you and your career and what you were doing, and you told me the pros, the cons, the pretty, the ugly, and you told me, hey, if that's something that you are considering doing, then you let me know. And so I sat down with Jenny and I told her about our conversation, and I thought it was a good opportunity for me to transition once again. And thank God I'm here with you guys now. And it's probably the happiest I've been in many years.
That's awesome. No, I remember having that conversation with you, and it was much more difficult for me than it was for you. Because I'll
It
tell you
usually
why.
is.
Yeah, well, it's kind of being the big brother. Right? It was because selfishly I wanted to see you on a basketball court because I know that your kids gravitate to you, and you're a person that people gravitate to, and you really have the ability of coaching, right? So to selfishly to kind of give an advice to somebody who you love so much, and then like you're like, dude, am I like giving like, it's like when somebody's asking you advice for marriage advice, you're like, bro, like in reality I should tell you like to stay, right? Like shit can be the ugliest,
Yeah.
but the right answer should be fight for it, go get it. But maybe it's not the healthiest thing for you, right? So I felt kind of like this. I don't know, maybe that's a bad example, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
it's almost an extreme example where I felt so responsible for you. You know, where I felt like, man, like if he comes and it doesn't work out, I don't want to like regret it. Which is why I you know, my answer to you has always been like, you know, follow your gut and follow your heart. I will say, I told you, I felt insurance was the best kept secret in corporate America, and it still is. I feel that way, and it is by no coincidence that if you look around the industry, the best brokers are ex-athletes. It's a very competitive business, very stressful business, as you know.
100%.
But we're used to being in a stressful environment. We're used to having the expectations of like, get the job done. We're used to like, you suck, you're not good enough, right? So we do well in this environment.
Yeah.
And it's a yes, it financially is a very rewarding job, but you got to start with nothing. I mean, the average broker lasts not even a year, dude. You know, that's crazy, but like the average insurance agent does not last a year. If I told you today, go sell insurance, zero commission, you probably quit in 8 months. So kudos to you that you're still here, and you found. And I still think you're carving your way on this business. I say this to you all the time. You, the talent that you have from being a leader to how you express yourself is yet to be written down in your story for insurance. I think that the minute that you fully understand the gift that you have, you're going to see your career really take off. But like I said, we're not in a rush.
Yeah.
But you can pivot quick if you want.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with you 100%.
The time is now. I think you're ready. You have all the experience. You have every resource in the world to take your career to a whole nother level. And that's what I want for everybody. You know, I think one of the reasons I love this podcast is I get to express myself, and there's nothing to me more. Nothing makes me more joyful and happy than to see somebody who has a dream about something, and like whether or not they quote unquote make it, but that they have the balls to go after it. That I got mad respect for that, because you can't control the result.
Yeah.
You can control like your preparation. You can control that I'm going to put my balls on the line, but in the end, you can control you're going to win? You can't, man. There's too many outside factors that you have no control over. So, you know, there isn't one person here that works at this company that, if they told me tomorrow, dude, I want to go start my own brand, I want to do this, I'll be like, you know what? Go do it, dude. Go do it, because you got one life, man.
I agree.
And it sucks to be somewhere and think that you're stuck.
Yeah.
I hate feeling stuck. You know, I would not last in a communist country, dude. They kill me.
Yeah, you definitely would have been a prisoner back in the day.
you would have to kill me, bro. If somebody told me, hey, dude, this is what you have to do, and like, no, bro, we're gonna die today. Like, no, I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
People, last thing, man. Other than I love you very much, and I'm happy to always have you around. What advice do you have for high school athletes, college athletes, and kids who are in sports, and parents who are making the decisions that mommy and papi had to make for you? That reality they didn't have to make for me. My story is different in my baseball career, but the parents who have to make the decision of whether or not their child should leave for a prep school, or maybe, you know, in many cases they leave your child. I don't want to call it they repeat them, but they hold them back,
Yeah,
right?
they
They
try
intentionally
to-
hold the child back for sport purposes. Anything you want to put out there?
For a parent, I mean, now that I'm a parent, I can honestly tell you it will be very difficult for me to tell my child that, yeah, at 16, go do it. But that's selfishly, that's coming from a selfish place.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not about you.
It's not about. So if your child is really, if they really do have a gift that they're blessed with, and they truly want to follow their dreams and their goals,
Their passion, man.
and they're passionate about it, then, man, just give them every resource possible that you can. Like I said, I mean, back in the day, I was blessed that I got a scholarship to Blair. I mean, Blair is $35,000 to $40,000 a year. So,
Well, you and I can probably say that our parents didn't have to pay a penny
no,
for college.
zero, not a dime. Thank God.
Thank God for that.
So that's what I'm going back to. Like, if they truly have a chance to go out there and bless other people by playing, give them the opportunity, man. Give them the resources that they need, and even if it means leaving the state or the city or the town or wherever the case may be, and trust God that you've put the best foundation in your child's life,
And it
they're
starts
gonna
young.
make the right
Don't
decisions.
start late, parents. Faith is not to be undermined ever. Start that immediately. Plant that seed, man. Because that seed doesn't die. Even if the kid tends to perish, he's going to come back. I truly believe that.
100%. And in life, bro, everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer in that. Sometimes we don't see it because we're thinking short term, but long term, looking back, I can say, man, I realize this happened for this reason. Sal lost his job at Archbishop because I was going to go to Blair and play with Luan and Charlie. I went to Dayton because I was going to learn toughness through Brian, so on and so forth, and everything. Now looking back, I'm so grateful for everything that's happened in my life.
It's awesome. I love you, bro.
Love you too, my brother.
Bobby, I love you. You guys are probably crying right now. Love you guys.